Okay, next on the discussion this morning is just a brief talk on soybean herbicide. Behind me here, you can see there's going to be a number of different soybean herbicide treatments that we looked at. Two pass programs for the most part here, and just looking especially at the soil portion of those two pass programs and what kind of a early control that we got. And so that information was captured early in the season. We did come back in and do some post-overlay cleanups here just to keep weed seed and weed pressure in check. But at the end of the day, in our area now, in regards to soybean herbicide, we want to go into a two-pass soybean herbicide whenever we can for really the kind of control that we're going to need with today's weed pressure. So we want to start down with good foundation products at maximum rates. So full herbicide rates with your soil applied program, and then we want to come back post-emerge with overlapping residual and additional knockdown activity as needed. So a two-pronged approach, and part of the two-pronged approach is this overlapping residual. So we would start down, like you see behind me here, with a product like Boundary, and then we would come back 30 to 35 days after planting, just depending on the growing season, and deliver a post-emerge cleanup. And at the same time here, we would tank mix an overlapping residual product like Dual to try to increase that residual on a water hemp as far out into the season to get us to canopy closure as possible. But one other thing we do need to start looking at on these heavier pressure water hemp farms, and that is considering when we come back on the post-emerge trip to have something in the tank to clean up escapes. We want to start out, as I had mentioned, pre-emerge with a 2 to 3 site of action on water hemp, residual material, residual herbicide like a Boundary, like a Prefix. There's others on the market as well that would work. So start out with a multiple site of action pre, come back post-emerge with overlapping residual, but we also want to consider adding something in the tank to clean up the escapes that are getting through your early herbicide application. Even if this early herbicide application delivers 93, 95% control, if there's a lot of water hemp pressure on the farm, that 5 to maybe 10% escape getting through that first shot is still going to be a problem for us if we don't control that with the post-emerge overlay. Because those residual materials that we're putting in the tank are likely not going to control any emerged water hemp. And so we will need to consider tank mixing in another product over the top. A possibility of this kind of a program would be Boundary down with some sulfentrazone, come back with a product like FlexStar GT, which has FlexStar in it for knockdown plus glyphosate, potentially even adding some additional Dual with that for even longer residual out into the season. And then this last plot that I wanted to show, here's an example of a two-pass residual water hemp program. Would also control the rest of the weed spectrum we have in this area, but utilizing a traded technology. So in this case, we have Extend soybeans behind me. The soil applied product was prefixed with metribuzin, and then we came back post-emerge with a product called Tavium. Tavium is actually a premix of Dual and Extendamax together. And the advantage of this type of program is it does give residual after it's sprayed, but it also will clean up escape water hemp plants getting through that pre-emerge program, which I just had talked about earlier. So it does give us a combination here of a water hemp cleanup that we're getting with the dicamba, and then we're also getting an overlapping residual because there's Dual in that product. So we're really closing the loop on any escape potential here for water hemp to give us as clean a field as possible when we're done. For those that might be planting enlist soybeans, a similar tactic could be used there. You'd put down your strong pre-emerge product for water hemp, then you would come back over the top with enlist, and you would tank mix some Dual for additional residual and glyphosate for other escape weeds. And that can be a very effective program under heavy water hemp pressure as well. That concludes today's soybean herbicide discussion. I want to thank you for taking a little time to watch it. If you have any questions, please contact your Country Visions agronomist. They are more than capable to answer your questions, and if not, they can reach out and we'll try to help you if we can. Thank you.